Hello and welcome to Please Attend Carefully Unheard. I am not Stefan Powell. I'm Ciarán Moffatt. I apologise for that probably really awful and offensive impression of a Welsh person. So, seeing as this Doctor Who Day, the BBC have decided to share some deleted scenes from last season, I thought that this week I could share some of the deleted scenes from Please Attend Carefully. If you're a patron of ours, you may have heard some of these clips, but I have remixed things, put them together in a nice big bumper episode of clips that didn't make it into the show. Whether we went off topic, whether we didn't have the time, whether it's a blooper, or whether we just lost our minds a bit. So, coming up in the episode, you can look forward to my very strong opinions on how Sylvia Noble treats her daughter, which thankfully changed a bit with the 60th anniversary. You'll hear some, but not all, of the many times my cat Colin interrupted recording. Amber will be filling you in on the history of the Raston Warrior robot, possibly the coolest monster in Doctor Who. And honestly, it's just a bit more of me going on about my crush on Scott Hancock. So, sit back, relax, and enjoy Please Attend Carefully Unheard. So when they came up with the idea of the Master, they realised, obviously, that the Doctor has an academic title. Basically, he is the Doctor. And they thought, well, why not a similar academic title? The Master, because, having a master's degree. I want to see, on screen or on audio, the wasted potential of The Bachelor. He tried hard, but now he's just coasting on that. He's gone nowhere, and he can't afford anything. The Bachelor, he is the worst out of all three of them.
The undergrad.
The undergrad, yeah, exactly.
The O level.
He passed his things. Which is hilarious because I watched a YouTube video the other day, cursed Doctor Who cliffhangers.
Yes.
And there were some that were really dodgy, Sixth Doctor ones. And I'm just like, I don't remember that. And that's such a stupid cut. It's because in the UK, they were showing it as 45-minute episodes. But in the US, they were distributing it as 22.5-minute episodes. So they literally just cut in the middle of an episode. Yep. Just cut.
Well, there were even when the BBC originally did reruns in the 60s, they cut entire, the Damons got cut down to an hour and 10 or something. They fully cut down, maybe it was less than that. They cut the Demons down so they could air it as a rerun, but not in segments. So they'd make an omnibus essentially.
Oh yes, yeah, that was a Christmas special thing they used to do every year. They would bring out they would get the most popular story of the year before, and they would cut it into an hour and 20 or 90-minute episode, 90-minute omnibus thing. Which if you do want to watch them, you can watch them on the Blu-ray box sets.
Yeah, and they'd lose an entire episode of content in those editings.
Which, let's face it, is not always. I mean, look. John Pertwee didn't suffer from it as much. Patrick Troughton's stories, when they were running in the production block of 4 episodes, 777, the 7-episode stories drag.
Yeah.
It takes a lot to try and maintain that level of interest over that. The only time I've actually even Big Finish has done 9-parter John Pertwee stories, Third Doctor stories, and they work because they know how to keep the tension up. Yeah. But the BBC did not always know how to keep the tension up because their aim was the quantity, not the quality. Which, fun story, fun fact for you, I'm not sure if I'll cut this, fun fact for you anyway, the only writer to have written for both the new series and the old series is Rona Munro, who wrote Survival, which was the end of the last classic series, and she also wrote The Eaters of Light for the 12th Doctor. So that's just a random bit of these episodes will also be interspersed with produced segments, clips from the show, dramatic readings, because I love the sound of my own voice.
I think as well, we might just pinpoint when this is, because people aren't necessarily going to listen to this as it comes out. They might come back to it later. We're currently waiting for David Tennant's return.
The 60th anniversary with the 14th Doctor.
So we're near that. It's not out yet. We've seen the trailers for it. So that's currently where we're sitting. So Dwan is presumably maybe only returning for a regeneration scene, maybe. Otherwise, I assume we're probably getting the next Master.
I don't know whether they do it in the next season or not.
Yeah, we might not see them for a while, and then obviously the Master can turn up at any point.
Although Dewan is going to be in a series for Big Finish.
Yes, that's been announced very recently.
As we say a lot as we will say a lot on this show, and as I say a lot in real life, if anything about Doctor Who you say, I wish there was more of X, the answer to that is listen to Big Finish.
Yeah.
It's all there. Like, I want more. I want to know what happened to the Master during the Time War. It's on Big Finish. If you want to know what happened to like Rose Tyler in the other universe,
if you want to know what it's like for Sylvia Noble to travel in the TARDIS with Donna and Wilfred at the same time, you
can have that. It's so I don't know whether we're going to get into just idle Doctor Who chat.
We should,
maybe like once a month we can do just like a Doctor Who breakdown on the network. But so they've been hinting that that at the end of the specials that the 14th Doctor is going to sort of regenerate into Ncuti Gatwa's 15th Doctor. I don't know. I mean, there's precedents, isn't there? There's like the Watcher and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But so basically, what they're trying to say is that they're setting up a mini-series spin-off of David Tennant's 14th Doctor and Catherine Tate as Donna, and also possibly Rose, her daughter. And all I can think of is, look, yeah, if she's going to go off traveling the universe, bit unfair on her husband, but I would avoid Sylvia at all costs anyway, because she's the worst human being. I've watched every episode of Doctor Who that is available. I've listened to every Doctor Who audio that is available. I have seen the hideousness of the universe. I have seen all the awful, malicious things the Master has done, and not a single one of them compares to the way that Sylvia Noble treats her daughter.
Wow.
I'm leaving that whole thing in. You know what? That's actually the cold open. That is just...
That's what we send to actors we want as guests on the show.
Which is funny because she's a brilliant actress. She was actually in the first War Master box set. But yeah. Also, she played the companion in the BBC, what was it called? Like the audio visual. I forget what the name of the actual story was, but it was meant to be like, it was going to be like an audio continuation of Doctor Who with Sylvester McCoy. It was so long ago that, yeah, she was the companion. And he had another companion who was played by, what is his name? The dirty guy from, the guy from Black Books. Dirty.
Oh, I know who you mean. Gorman, Burn.
No, not Burn Gorman. No.
Oh, really? That's not him.
No. It's Kevin Eldon. That's it. Yeah, Kevin Eldon. He played a companion. Like, it's so long ago that they were in their 20s.
Okay.
They played a companion. So that whole bit went nowhere. We'll just cut after trashing Sylvia Noble.
All right.
She's an abusive mother, okay? She's an abusive
and
mother.
daughter. She's pretty bad to Wilf as well.
Oh, yes.
So, to get back on track and maybe start wrapping things up, the impossible question: do you have a favorite Master?
Wait, did you say when you fell in love with the Master?
Yeah.
Huh.
Yep.
It was so unremarkable.
Wow.
Sorry.
No. It was Yana in Yana
you did say
into Sim, that reveal of Dr. Yana.
That was beautiful. Yes. I will cut that in. So do I have a favorite Master? It's
like as hard as saying, do you have a favorite Doctor?
Yeah.
It's harder for me, I think. I do have a favorite Doctor. It's 5.
Mine's Paul McGann, clearly. The 8th Doctor just has so much range. Just while I'm on that train of thought, what I want is a 3 Doctors team up, right? But it's the 3 eras of Paul McGann. Like it's
Dandy.
like the young romantic,
Yeah.
and then like the tired guy in the naval outfit, and then the really fucked off like Time War Doctor. Like I want the three of them interacting. That's what I want to see. It's the only like time Doctor Who has really distinct like eras amongst one Doctor. Anyway, I'm not sure I can pick one. Possibly the War Master. I think Derek Jacobi's performance, and I think like Derek Jacobi clearly loves the role, and he loves the people he's working with, and also those stories are written, partially written, and almost entirely directed by Scott Hancock, who is brilliant. He's a brilliant mind, which is why he's been given the job as script editor for the new series of Doctor Who.
Great.
Yeah, I know it's
Get
so
some of
cool.
that Big Finish talent onto the screen.
Please. I mean, I believe he actually started as like a runner for the BBC years ago, but not that I follow him
Obsessively?
not that I follow him obsessively on Instagram, where while recording this he's hiking in the Brecon Beacons alone.
Oh gosh.
There's lots of shots of him in a hot tub, okay? Anyway.
This is the first podcast.
I'm cutting so much out. But at least, this is great because we're sort of getting a feel for what not to do.
Yes. Yeah.
That's the cold open. This is great. We're getting a feel for what not to do.
Yep.
Yeah.
Which is interesting if you think about the fact that Peter Davison's Doctor was younger than David Tennant's Doctor.
Yes, because I'll see if I remember this. Like David Tennant's Doctor was between 30 and 32. I'm never quite sure. And Peter Davison was 29. Matt Smith was the youngest at 26.
Yeah.
And Ncuti Gatwa is 30, which makes him the only actor to have played the Doctor who is younger than me at the time of watching.
Come on. Anyway, let's get back on topic to the Master.
Sorry. There is a lot of retconning
Although it's
going on.
incorrect lore. Is it? No.
Is it? It depends. Look, there is a lot of retconning going on. So I suppose what we should talk about.
I'll say it's incorrect lore in that he doesn't look into the schism and hear the drums. It's not an effect of the schism that does it to him. Rassilon plants it in their like it's.
Yes.
They think that that's what it is, but we find out later that it's actually Rassilon has done this.
Yes, that is something we will get into when we look at the end of time.
Yeah.
So, okay, let's talk about quickly what he does to the Doctor.
Yep.
So what he says is he shows outwardly all of the years that the Doctor has lived. So basically, the Doctor looks like he's 907. Russell T Davies put a very pin in that one. It's just like it started at 900. Yeah.
Yep.
He's 903 or something like that.
And then Chibnall went, I think not.
Yeah, I think not. Well, Stephen Moffat was just like, fuck you all. The Doctor's just going to be in this one thing here for 2 billion years. But yeah, so he makes him look old, and then he goes one step further and turns the Doctor into a gnome.
This part doesn't have to stay in. There's absolutely no way they're not fucking.
What, Lucy and the Master?
Yeah.
No, that's exactly it. They're clearly having sex.
In case it does stay in, I probably should have said that a bit more eloquently. But they're
you
engaged.
can say it again if you want.
There's no way that these two aren't engaged in marital bliss. Let's put it that way, right? Like,
yeah, no, they're clearly having sex, which is interesting because this is the first time sex is implicit in Doctor Who.
Yeah, like that, and I guess it puts either they're using protection, or humans and Time Lords can't have offspring together because 18 months on Earth, then a year on the Valiant, and she isn't pregnant. This is why this doesn't have to stay in.
No, it doesn't have to stay. Yeah, no, because I'm just like, the Master.
Can he finish? But why wouldn't he want a kid?
That's a fair point.
It's implied that the Master has a daughter at one point already. Missy says the Doctor gave me this when my daughter, and gets interrupted.
Yeah, good old Stephen Moffat. He loved breadcrumb lore.
Yeah. So there, in canon, there is a reference to the Missy having a daughter.
Yep.
And the doctor said he's had children, a family.
Well, he has a granddaughter.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, unless you want to go reading Lung Barrow by Mark. I love Mark Gatiss, but oh my God, Lung Barrow, like the whole genetic loom theory of Doctor Who, it just makes me, the only thing I like less than that is the really awful sex, death, and grimness of like the 1996 Virgin New Adventures.
Anyway, we're getting way off topic, but
We
I
are.
just wanted to bring up the fact it is interesting that Lucy is not pregnant at the end of a 2-year
No.
time period. But obviously, they didn't want to get into that because then having that child is huge implications.
Yeah, I suppose you can't plan out every second of the universe.
No.
Another classic throwback is the Master watching kids' TV and you're never quite sure if he's sure or not whether it's real. So he's watching the Teletubbies and he says, "Oh, television's in their stomach. It's an amazing, that's evolution for you." And you're not quite sure if he's being serious or not, which is a reference to the Sea Devils, where the Master is watching the clangers. Until it's just like, oh, amazing creatures. They live on the moon, you know. And someone said, it's a kids show. Oh, is it? It's just like, it's so sort of, oh, okay. I thought they were real. Unless we know that in the Doctor Who universe, there are those types of nutters who follow what the Doctor does, like Clive, who ended up dying in Rose. So
But it didn't happen on Earth, the Rose with the vortex and stuff.
Oh, who could gaze into the heart of the time vortex? Yeah.
Like, it's an interesting detail. I wouldn't imagine periphery nutters to know about that event, apart from knowing that woman wasn't traveling with the Doctor anymore. But it seems to me Jack's the only link to
Unless
the story.
it was something that they heard. I'm not even sure if all of this is going in. Unless it's something, because they were talking about it. Jack and the Doctor were talking about it when Jack was in the radiation room. So maybe Yana heard that, but that was around the time that Yana was
it's too busy, I think.
All of the stuff in the watch.
Sorry if that answer is gone out too long. But
No, that's fine. Okay. Now,
supposedly got when he looked into the untempered schism, and that's his important law. That's how they initiate children into the Citadel.
untempered schism is, well, it looks a bit like a Stargate, really. And it is just a hole into the time vortex where you look at all of time and space.
And you make children look into it, because that's
something that
you do.
I mean, look, I take quite a lot of Big Finish stuff as canon. So I personally like to believe the whole Rassilon was the proto-racist, who the reason all people look and sound roughly the same is because Rassilon sent his DNA back through time. And if he did, he sent it through that schism.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I won't make a joke about him jacking off into the schism. Anyway. Do you think Dwan Master voted for Harold Saxon?
Of course, he's on Earth at this point, isn't he?
Yeah. His 75 years of waiting is happening right now.
So does that mean that during the missing year, he was just hanging around, like he was in prison somewhere?
Just somewhere, just doing...
It's just like having to make, like...
the most of it, just...
He's having to help build bombs and stuff?
Well, I don't think he would have got caught. I don't think the Toclafane could bring him down.
It's all very silly. It's when you start getting into lore like this that you just sort of go, oh, it's a bit of a headache.
I'll come back to it when we do Spyfall. But also, Archangel Network would collapse at this point after the Master has been defeated. Here comes Dwan Master with Vor as the next big thing. Like ready and waiting to produce his new one for his new plan. Anyway, we'll come back to that for Spyfall.
That's actually a really good point. That is a very, very good point. Okay, so we've learned that this master has caused other masters to to really get going.
We haven't talked about Sim. I know that this is already long, but I know that we've waffled for parts. But I found that when we did Delgado, there was a lot of him, talking about the role and what it was like for him being in it and what people thought of him. I found very little Sim content out there. Like he
John
said,
Sim is a jobbing actor.
Yeah.
Like he takes a role, he does it, and he goes home.
well, he said he took this role because his kids love Doctor Who, so he wanted to be in it for them. So that was his main motivation, do it for his kids. But then, I haven't actually ever seen... he has said that he'll play the role as many times as they ask him.
Yeah.
That's another thing he said. So if in the future they ever want to bring him back, he'll do it.
It was a big cast, wasn't it? Like, it was a really, really big thing for him to play the Master. And I think that was the thing. Like, they brought in Sir Derek Jacobi to play Yana as a sort of... almost a sort of decoy, in a way. Because then when he regenerates into John Sim, which no one had said anything about John Sim being anywhere near the show...
And he does actually act on a very closed set the entire time.
Yeah. And of course, but at the time, John Sim was huge because the first series of Life on Mars had come out. And that was winning all sorts of awards.
Yeah, so a very calculated casting by Russell T Davies in terms of popularity.
Yeah.
I would say very similar to Sacha Dhawan's casting.
Yeah.
You know, he's in a lot of...
On the up and up.
Yeah, a very good emerging but good actor to cast into this role with not much suspicion around them probably either.
Well, that's how you do the Doctor as well, isn't it? I mean, you look at Ncuti Gatwa. No, if you'd have asked anyone the day before who was going to be the Doctor,
no one would.
He would not have been on any person's list. Yep, sounds good. Sorry, I just realized one of the notes I made for the movie was kills his wife when she's just DTF. Also, Bruce sleeps with his watch on.
Yeah. I know that's weird, but...
Yeah. He experiments on them until there's only one left, and it's a super Deathworm Morphin. Super Deathworm Morphin, Sargo! And... yeah, I don't know what that was. I'm having look, I'm trying to explain something that I know sounds inherently ridiculous.
Yeah.
That's the thing. We were talking about the Sylvester McCoy's death. I mean, we'll get back to the Master in a minute, but when the Doctor dies, the Doctor is shot by a gang in San Francisco. It's like a turf war. He gets shot. Although he doesn't die from the bullets. He dies from the medical treatment.
Yeah.
And I think it had no shock.
It's no dramatic moment. He just steps out the door, bang, 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 and down he goes.
Because on one hand, like if you're coming to it from the point of view of not having watched Doctor Who before, why should you feel anything for this character that you've only known for like the last 10 minutes? Why should you feel anything for him? And from the point of view of Doctor Who fans, you know he's going to regenerate into Paul McGann, so you just wait to see how it happens.
Yeah. And also, like, the producers apparently of this film didn't like Sylvester McCoy's voice. Originally, they did record the intro with Sylvester McCoy, but the producers hated the sound of his voice, so...
Is that why he says like 5 words in the whole
yes,
movie?
He only speaks when absolutely necessary because they didn't want his voice to be what people associated with the Doctor.
He's got a lovely, soft voice.
It's so awful for him. So, I mean, he gets to be in it and he does get a send-off, which is better than them just not giving him one. But yeah, I felt bad that was what it came to.
There, that should do it.
This movie... I mean, apart from the fact we can look at the fact that there's a lot of stylistic choices in this movie that then fed into the 2005 continuation of Doctor Who. Russell T Davies specifically said that he started New Who with Christopher Eccleston already in situ because he didn't want to make the mistake that the movie made of you not caring about a character.
Yeah. There's so much information out about this that it's hard to know exactly which sources are true and all. But apparently Eccleston was considered even for the movie. But he didn't want to do it or something. But again, there's a lot of information around.
There are a lot of people. So there was a really big casting call and there was a lot of people in the shortlist. Funnily enough, in the shortlist alongside Paul McGann was his brother Mark McGann.
Okay.
Because there's like 4 of the bastards and they're always there. Another person who was in a shortlist for it, Anthony Head.
Yes, I did read that.
Anthony Head has been in the shortlist for every Doctor since Peter Davison, I'm pretty sure. So he's been in the shortlist for and he's so tight.
Principal of a school with Krillitines in the end.
Yeah, he really wanted to play the Doctor. He's always wanted to play the Doctor. He's a big fan. Right. Yeah, I'd love Anthony Head.
So 2 castings that I heard about that I just want to quickly talk about.
It's fine. It's all going in the the exclusive content.
Michael Palin.
Michael
got really
because
far
he's big
through.
in America.
We got really far through until he turned it down because he recognized he didn't think he was up to it, to portraying the Doctor. I think that's maybe the right call. It would have been interesting. We can have another discussion later about which Python would be the best Doctor. The other one that got really far along for
Terry
the
Jones.
Master.
Sorry, Terry Jones.
we'll talk about it later. Christopher Lloyd got really far along until they ended up not going with him because he was going to cost too much. However, given the amount of reshoots and things like that they ended up doing, Roberts cost more than what Lloyd asked.
We laugh at that, but of course Christopher Lloyd has played good villain. I mean, look at his work in Star Trek and stuff. He plays. He does manage to play a villain.
Could you imagine Lloyd Master though?
I know. The Doctor is in his TARDIS. Can I just say, I love this TARDIS so much.
Yeah, it's really
beautiful.
fun.
It's steampunk, like beautiful iron girders. It's got space. Like it is big.
Yeah, and it's got furnishings.
Yes, I like,
which is nice because I mean sometimes you see them pull out some deck chairs and they're sitting around a chessboard or something.
Oh, like in the Five Doctors where they unaccountably they've just got all this wicker furniture that's come out of nowhere.
Yes, just that Tegan's brought out for the first Doctor to sit down on and things like that. Yeah, like just why all of a sudden? So this one's
and cocktails, if I remember. What?
Yeah,
Cocktails?
She makes cocktails for them. Yeah, she's really putting her flight attendant training to use in that part.
TARDIS lands in San Francisco. And I don't know why I said it like that. I said it, Eddie Izzard, San Francisco. Alcatraz.
Yeah,
Alcatraz.
we get, and you feel the whole time everyone is just talking about how amazing Bruce is, and I guess it just makes you feel worse that this man is now just gone.
Sorry, that was the deathworm Moffatt going up the corridor. So, him and Chang-Li in the TARDIS, and we see the cloister room with the Eye of Harmony.
Yeah.
So, if I can put on my nerd hat here. So, the Eye of Harmony exists in every TARDIS, and it is connected to the Eye of Harmony, which is the black hole that Omega controls to give Gallifrey time travel capabilities, right?
Yep.
So, the Eye of Harmony is the source of all of Gallifrey's power, and it is also connected to the Matrix on Gallifrey. So Eye of Harmony in the TARDIS connected to the Eye of Harmony on Gallifrey and connected to the Matrix. So that's the whole thing. I want to just quickly talk about the infamous line in the movie about the Doctor being half human.
Okay.
So people hate that line.
My thought on it is that they thought this was going to maybe turn into a series and this was the hook for the series.
Absolutely.
And that's as far as they got with it. And that just never pays off because they thought they were going to get more done and then they just didn't.
Oh, they absolutely wanted it to be a series. Paul McGann's audition tapes were all about like him going and finding his father and his brother or something. So there is a comic book. So it's part of the 50th anniversary Prisoners of Time IDW comic line. There's one throwaway line in a single panel in the 8th Doctor one that says, I once fooled the Master into thinking I was half human by using a half-broken chameleon arch. And I was like, okay, that is enough for my internal canon to just sort of go, yep, fine, that's it. We're done.
Just excuse it away. Yeah.
Okay, at this point, I want to talk about the Doctor's weird power for this movie. This is probably going to be extra content again. The Doctor's weird power of knowing everything about everyone, knowing the future. Like, I don't know, if I was to write some explanation fic about this, it would be that as he's just recently regenerated and the Eye of Harmony's open, he can sort of see into people's personal futures a little bit.
Yeah.
Or maybe just this version, like this body is just a bit psychic.
Or I like the idea that he's just making it up. That sounds good.
That
sounds
good.
Plausible as someone all mysterious. Don't answer the second question. No, don't answer the third question on your test. Answer the second question. That's a thing.
It does very much sound. Also, jelly babies. Again, he's back with jelly babies.
Which I would not. Would you eat a gummy given to you by a stranger? I would not. Don't put that in your mouth. You don't know what that is.
I mean, look, Halloween is coming up at time of recording. Okay.
So we get the wonderful "This is an ambulance" line
yeah,
as
it's
they're
just
stuck
like,
in
I'm
traffic.
going as fast as I can. This is an ambulance.
Yeah.
I'm going to cut that sound in here.
I love that.
Oh, wow.
And then Grace fixes it and time reverses and Earth comes back into existence.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
Oh, that's nice.
Wow.
Sorry. I'm not judging Matthew Jacobs' writing.
Which would feed into originally us knowing that the next time we see him is when he gets resurrected by them for the Time War. Maybe not that. That might not be correct.
So strictly speaking, he has his body stripped from him again. He becomes the Decade Master again.
Okay.
And he eventually dies. But due to the services rendered by other. Actually, no, I can't tell you this because you haven't listened to it yet.
Okay. All right. Doesn't matter. So we can cut that bit of lore. Yeah, just undermines the first person he sees.
Yeah,
shows
immediately.
off who he is.
Oh, he could give lectures. No, that's an idea. Russell, get in contact. I want a story where the master is running like one of those self-help seminars, like
Life coaching.
Yeah, life coaching. Yeah, that's how you do that.
The arrival of a kindly old man with superior knowledge in all fields seems to spell an end to all their problems, or so they think.
Dun, dun, dun. Actually, I'll probably just put the sound effect in there.
Mm-hmm. Have you ever seen Blake 7?
Don't out me like this. I've seen the first episode.
Okay. Which means you haven't seen any Blake 7 because the first episode is not indicative of that show. Anyway, okay. The president in that show, President Serverland, that's who I imagined when I thought of the governor Tremont in this. It just feels like the same character.
It's played by Pippa Haywood, who I remember her chiefly as Chris Barry's wife in the British Empire.
Oh, right.
So it's weird hearing her being so cruel. And the phone doesn't ring for everyone. I mean, there's a point where Jack comes up to... actually, no, we'll get to that in just a sec. Sorry.
It's interesting because is the master watching them? Where is he? We don't see him. We don't know where he is. We never find out where he is, but somehow he is watching these people and he knows everything that's going on.
Colin!
Do I need to go again?
No, it's fine. I think it should be okay. I hope. Can you remember what you said?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's just that it's ominous because where is...
One sec. And go. It's not nice. And so Callus is suddenly in control of Cassie, who has her wife...
Miranda.
No.
Merida?
Michelle?
It's... hang on. I've got it here because I've got it on the body count, I think.
Martine. Yep.
Sorry.
Cassie's wife, Martine.
We get 10 and the War Master doing a story together, and
as well
obviously
as the 8th Doctor and the War Master.
Yeah, and obviously 10 doesn't know who the War Master is because he hasn't met him.
I'm pretty sure, if I can correct you there, I'm pretty sure in the story you're talking about, it is after the 10th Doctor met Yana.
It's the other way around. So it's no.
Yeah. So
one
the
of them
10th
doesn't
Doctor
recognize the other.
The War Master doesn't recognize the 10th Doctor.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure. But the 8th Doctor doesn't recognize the War Master, and
Yes.
then he has his memory erased. That's what I'm calling this episode, Threatening Aura. So then we go back to Callus.
Yeah.
And the governor, the Governor Tremont, Governor. What the hell is the governor's name? The master appreciates beauty. Colin, go away.
It was his birthday the other day. Did you
It
know?
was.
Like a couple of days
Happy
ago.
birthday, Sir Derek Jacobi.
80, I think.
Good Lord. Yes, it's interesting, I suppose. I don't know whether this is making it into the episode, but like the idea that Ood in most stories seem to get hijacked by psychic powers, nascent psychic powers. And of course, on their own planet, they've got that third brain, the giant brain, which does that protect them from these psychic invasions that keep trying to take them over? Like, I don't know.
I do love the editor every single time an Ood talks, adding in the clicking of the ball, illuminating. Like, that's just dedication
the
to
sound engineers on Big Finish are just hello and what? Oh. 2 words in, folks. 2 words in. We also have a signal boosted open-ended transmat beam.
Ooh, the look on his face. He's so excited.
The Tree Mass Master, played by Anthony Ainley. I don't know why I failed at saying his name there. He got stuck by plot device. The plot device needed to explain the fact that Tom Baker didn't want to do it.
Yeah, well, apparently Terrence Dicks just said to John Nathan Turner, like, just have you got any footage at all of him? And they were like, oh, we've got some spare Sharda stuff. And he's like, great, just give me that and I've got an idea.
Well, the average viewer might not have known about the strike at the time, about how Sharda was the last serial on season 18.
Oh, they're going to come for you in the comments if you don't know.
They are going to come for me in the comments. I think it's not season 18, it's season 17. 16.
Get him, guys.
Douglas Adams, the script editor, don't hurt me. So the Sharda was the last serial in that season, and it was a 6-episode serial, and there was industrial action at the BBC. There was a strike, and so it didn't get finished. All the exterior shots were done, basically, like all of the location shots, all done, but they had only done a couple. Like they'd only done a couple of the a couple of the studio shots, i.e. the shots inside the TARDIS and inside Professor Chronotis's room. They are going to come for me. I know they are. I have to hand in my badge.
You could just edit this out.
I can. I have the power. Anyway.
So yes, because of all that, there was an unfinished serial that they could.
Yes, there was an unfinished serial. So the average person wouldn't know about this, and they wouldn't recognize. They would think, "Oh, it's new." It was filmed for this. Like as far as they're concerned, it was filmed for this because they'd never seen it before. But now we know better. Anyway, so the Doctors are in the Death Zone, which could possibly have been named better.
I'm surprised they didn't stick of Rassilon at the end.
Death Zone of Rassilon. Well, they do try and say that the Death Zone came before Rassilon. So this is sort of muddying the waters of Time Lord history here, but then again, what isn't? And then they say that they need him to go and rescue the Doctor. Mm-hmm. And he does a little... What?
I'll just point. It's a podcast, Ciarán. They can't see your facial expression.
I know. I was just what? Where there are Cybermen and Yeti and Daleks. Oh my!
Yep. Yeah, I don't know. There's something to say about yeah.
Yeah. Yep. Thank you. Yes, they've all been put in different. I don't want to say quadrants because there's 5 of them. Quintrants.
Yes.
Can someone well versed in either A, also like just the alphabet at this point, A, mathematics, or B, just grammar? Please contact me.
Help us.
Please help. Please help. I don't even know how much of this is going in the podcast. This is the most chaotic we've been.
Yeah, this is.
It's all going in the extra content. Okay. The most iconic companion in Doctor Who never met the most iconic villain in Doctor Who. Actually, most iconic villain. I'm going to get the Dalek fans on at me now. What about Davros?
They like little old ladies.
In my head, they are, yeah.
Oh, smacking you with their purse.
You naughty, naughty boy. You forgot about Davros.
We're in for a wild ride this episode, aren't we?
God, that's the cold open.
But at the moment, he is Five's master.
Yeah.
So they do have that thing. If it had been Delgado,
Five's master,
yeah,
is he?
yeah, he is.
Okay.
If it had been Delgado's version of the
Don't
master,
write in.
write in, send me your links. She's having a wild time anyway. That's probably the best part about the novelization.
She's just fallen down a slight incline.
In the novelization, she does not want to be there. She has disdain.
Who would?
She has disdain for the Doctor. She wants absolutely nothing to do with him after he left her behind. So then finding herself here with him showing up again as the third Doctor, she's just not into it. And then she's trying to explain that the Master is not lying and he won't listen to her. Yeah, she gets a lot of a stronger voice in the novel. It's great. So yeah, but there would have been that one asshole on the school playground.
Oh yeah,
He's like, my mother bought me the book and I've already read it.
Your small child is about as good as my old lady.
Yeah.
We have the fine people on Tumblr who listen to us.
You're trying to get back in their good graces.
I am
aren't
trying.
you?
I'm not a Tumblr person. I don't know how. I find myself desperately craving their approval, and
You don't even know them.
I don't even know them. I'm not on Tumblr. Tumblr is this strange mystical place that I can't
Right.
I can't even do Reddit. Like
No.
some
See,
days I just feel so old.
No, we see where I'm right in on Tumblr every day.
Yeah, of course you are.
I've got a blog. I've read the fanfics. Anyway, this is probably all getting cut.
Who knows? Who knows with us? Could go in. I don't even know if this episode is going to be 10 minutes long or 3 hours long.
Could the tagline of this episode be more impersonations of grannies than you think?
I'm pretty sure so we've watched the 40th anniversary of the 20th anniversary like Blu-ray today.
And earlier this week, I watched the original version as well. I've watched this twice this
This must
week.
be like a whiplash for you.
It was good to be able to then directly contrast the special effect changes.
Yeah.
Like having
They did
very
a good
recent-
job.
Oh, it was brilliant. Better than the original remake. Sorry,
Better
the
than
first
the, yeah,
time
the-
remake.
the first special edition, yeah.
Yeah, better than that, I think. Absolutely.
Oh my god, the swirling
Yeah.
swirling cloak of death that picked them up, and yeah.
Yeah, the obelisks that were in this one resemble exactly what Terrence Dicks described in the novelization. Also, did you know that original remake of this, they didn't get permission to do that? 2 of the special effects people just did it.
Oh really?
Yeah, they were just like, they asked, I can't remember who it was, they asked who was ever in charge at the time, can we do this? And the guy was like, oh yeah, you guys can work on that project. But the person in charge thought that they were then going to seek approval from the original writers and directors and VFX people, but they didn't. They just went and did it themselves and then brought it back. And everyone was like, who gave you permission to do this? And they were like, oh.
And it just got published on DVD.
Yeah, they just did because it was made then. They'd spent the money on it.
Yeah, that would not fly today.
No.
That would be, no matter how much money you'd spent on it would just be like taken away. Even if you'd done it. Oh yeah. It's like if you, again, terrible analogies. I love terrible analogies on this show. It's like if you don't seek planning approval for like a building on your property, and then like you've built it, and then they're just like, you didn't seek approval. It's like, oh well, it's built now. Okay, tear it down. As an anniversary story, it's great. It really is. It tries to cram in too much. I don't think Russell T Davies will try and cram in as much as they did in this.
Like
Although,
if Tom Baker had been in this as well, and then imagine if Delgado had still been alive and was in this as well. Like,
we've talked before though, if Roger Delgado had still been alive, the Master would not be the Master as we know today.
that's true.
Because the storyline that
They wouldn't
they
have
wanted
needed to do it.
Yeah. They wanted to. Well, they wanted their Reichenbach Falls moment. They wanted the Master to die. Wild speculation. You know what I've always wanted? I've always wanted a scene where, like, just an end to a Doctor Who series where the Doctor's regenerating. I want the Doctor and the Master like trapped in a small room where they both regenerate. Yeah, tell me more. Yeah. Where they both regenerate, and then when it opens, the companion doesn't know who's who.
Mm-hmm.
Who's who? I did that on
This
the
is
spot.
a cursed episode.
So it is. I don't know why I'm like this. I mean, I enjoyed watching it. I think we got out all the good material while we were watching it. That's
Yeah.
the problem.
Yeah. All right. Back on track.
Why was Rick Mayall never in Doctor Who? It would have been. I would have watched Rick Mayall in Doctor Who. I don't know who he would have played, but I think he would have been.
It's too late, right? It's too late. No, he's not, because Rick Mayall's not to fame until 85.
Yeah, I suppose.
So
What about Aid Edmondson though? I think he could still come in and do Doctor Who. He's not. Has he retired by now? Or
Oh, he doesn't do much anymore. I mean, he did Star Wars, but only at the behest of Mark Hamill. So when Mark Hamill asked you to be in Star Wars, you be in Star Wars.
how do you get asked by Mark Hamill to be in Star Wars?
Because Mark Hamill fucking loves Rick Mayall and Aid Edmondson.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
And they met in the UK at some point, and then Mark Hamill was like, I want you to be in this film with me.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow. Wonderful.
Anyway.
The last thing I saw him in was Jonathan Creek, but which is now I look back as 20 years ago. Yeah, not great. Okay, this has gone off on a massive tangent. Okay, just quickly, I heard a great story. Sylvester McCoy told it. He said that when they were filming Remembrance of the Daleks, the pyrotechnics guys went way overboard, and so this explosion that was meant to be a small ended up massive black smoke billowing up. And apparently there was just like a fire engine like barreling down the road, and Sylvester McCoy saw the guy in the wheel, like really, intent, and a Dalek came out of the smoke, and he said he saw the guy go,
Oh, it's amazing. Complete sideline. This isn't even about Doctor Who, but it's the BBC pyrotechnics weren't great on any of their shows because, by their own admission, they almost killed Rick Mayall on the set of The Young Ones when the cooker exploded, and Rick was standing way too close to it.
You can see that.
Yeah.
He really does not look, because that was when the lentils exploded.
Yes.
Was it the bomb lands?
The cherry
in it?
bomb, yeah. Yep, and Rick Mayall was just too close and just literally cowering for his life. Back to Doctor Who. So he disappears for a while.
Yes, him and the Cybermen off, he's just like, come on, we'll go to the tower. He's obviously trying to impress them. And just how quickly he lies and just tells them exactly what they want to hear.
Yeah.
Which for Cybermen is quite impressive. Because, they're not really meant to have, I don't know, like wants or expectations. They're logic driven, aren't they?
Yeah, that
I mean,
wanes a bit.
Yeah, it's in the 80s period, the Cybermen are a bit, yeah.
Yeah, there's definitely some moments in Earthshock where you're like, is that an unfeeling approach to the situation?
I mean, I certainly want a middle ground between them and modern Cybermen. Modern Cybermen, as I've said before, are too robotic. Like, I want something somewhere in the middle. Yeah. Like, that's the whole reason that last season we had General Ashad. Like, the whole reason the last Cyberman thing. Because you needed one that actually had some form of individuality.
Yeah, I think they kind of got caught up in the whole, like, having delete as their catchphrase to mimic the Daleks having exterminate.
Yeah.
They didn't need that. They're not Daleks in a different form.
No, exactly. Damn, I wish I had my thing set up so I could just delete. Always choosing between that master. Well, yeah, that's the thing. Killed her aunt, and also now apparently Canon killed her ex-girlfriend's dad, because her and Nissa are now apparently canon.
Yeah. Yeah. Wait, ex-girlfriend?
Well, at this point, Nissa's already left. So...
It again, it's all convoluted and wrapped up and...
Okay. Hal Rassilon had the power of immortality and yet is dead in a...
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
Oh, no, they say they locked him. The
Yeah, he's not
predecessors,
really
they rose
dead.
up against him and locked him in there because he
And-
was being cruel to people.
Yeah, and this is the thing. Rassilon is often depicted, at least hugely within a grey area, if not as a villain.
Yeah. Like
uh,
the Timothy Dalton version, which we'll
yeah,
see.
yeah, and of course the Don Warrington incarnation in the Eighth Doctor audios, where Rassilon's kind of there, but he's also in a parallel universe trying to get back, and it's a whole thing. It's the old "Whose Line Is It Anyway" bit. Stephen Fry in like the original series of "Whose Line Is It Anyway" pulls out the roll of upper wrap and he goes, "Look, either the BBC believes in Doctor Who or it doesn't."
This is probably going to end up in extra stuff. Can we talk about the Raston Warrior robot? I know
Yes.
this is a master podcast,
Yeah, no,
but
yeah, look, yeah.
we have to talk about the Raston Warrior
Look,
robot.
we're running at like 55 minutes, and honestly, half of it's being cut into the other thing. So, Raston Warrior robot. It looks like a kink. It looks like someone's kink. I'm not here to kink shake, but it looks like your kink.
Terrence Dix said this was the best thing he ever invented.
I mean, it's as a concept.
yeah.
I like it.
And in the book, he describes it as being basically just a featureless athletic man, basically, is how he described it. So it's got like a shiny chrome face, and it's got the power of an athleticism. It's got the power of an athlete in his prime, basically, and it's very smoothly jumping and moving, and it's
I'm surprised with what they did with the special effects on the Blu-ray, like turning it into like a blue. I thought what they would do is show it like blurs of it, like moving. Yeah.
His inspiration for this was that they said that John Pertwee had not had enough problems to face along the way. He had to have one more.
Yeah.
And they were like, but it can't cost anything.
Oh, okay.
So we need one more villain, but it can't cost us a single thing to make it. So Terrence came up with the idea. He was like, oh, I always wanted to write a ninja into the show. So that was his inspiration.
He likes a ninja, does he?
Yeah, so that was his inspiration, was to draw a ninja. But then the fact that it couldn't cost anything meant it was originally meant to have like throwing stars and a sword and all kinds of equipment that it pulled out of nowhere, but they couldn't afford to do that, so it just had the spears.
It had a bit of a sword at the end. Like
I think that's one of the, that it like.
But it's literally not built in.
Style.
It's literally not built in. You can see it like sticking up. He's just holding it in the middle with it sticking up his arm.
Yeah,
like someone's just grabbed a bit of metal off someone and just
and execution style murders the Cybermen.
Oh yeah, it destroys the Cybermen. Like the Cybermen exist in this story to be destroyed in many varied, interesting ways.
Yeah, this one has like where it's like screaming in pain and like the spear has gone through its arm and it's still in there and it just starts vomiting up goo.
Yeah.
Like it's fantastic and the sound effects are great.
Yeah, yeah. Look, anything sounds great when you put it through a vocoder and a harmonizer like that.
I wish this robot was in more. Like it's in the Eighth Doctor book.
Yeah, the Eight Doctors, yeah, because they go back to the Death Zone in the Eight Doctors.
Yeah. I wish that this robot was. If Russell T Davies brought back anything from the classic Who, this should come back. This would be fantastic to see.
Yeah, they would
a
be
brand
able
new
to do it really
take
well.
on it. Yeah, I want to see it all. Like, I want to see it, the new version of it with a higher budget and another interesting story. Give it to a writer. Try to do something more with it.
My thing about this this villain though is that there's that line. Our ancestors never included the Cybermen like the Daleks they play too well in the game of Rassilon. I'm just gonna like start dinging every time there's something of
Ring
Rassilon.
the Rassilon bell.
The bell of Rassilon rings. Ding.
The bell of Rassilon is in this.
The bell of Rassilon is in this, yes. So I know every time I say the of Rassilon, I'll play the noise. I'm sorry, guys. Yeah, so the thing about this is, actually, there's two things about that one statement. The first being, of course, that if Daleks and Cybermen are too good, why the hell is the Raston Warrior robot there?
Yeah, man, it's like they didn't realize how much of a threat it was until they put it in there.
Yeah.
And then it's just so good that
It's just stayed there.
Yeah. Oh, well, no, hang on. Rewind. Yeah, Cybermen and Daleks aren't meant to be in there, but they are in there because Bruce doesn't play by the old Time Lord rules.
But I thought that it gave the impression that the Raston Warrior robot has always been there.
it might have been. We don't know, I suppose, because it could have been moved in.
Also, the thing about the Daleks and the Cybermen playing too well is a plot hole because the Doctor didn't know about the Daleks and the Cybermen until after leaving Gallifrey.
Ah.
Yeah.
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 He learned in hindsight, I
Yeah,
suppose.
hindsight's 2020. Look, if we start,
We can't look at the Doctor's continuity. We cannot. We've got our own master continuity that we're trying to stick to.
Okay, so yeah, they're in the room of Rassilon, and the Fifth Doctor has been mesmerized by Verussa in a kind of mastery way. Like you're led to believe that the coronet of Rassilon gives his mind power over other people's minds. He, of course, also has the pointy stick of Verussa, which is not the pointy stick
I
of
love
Rassilon.
the pointy stick of Verussa. This is my pointing stick.
He's just got a walking stick and he just uses it to point at things. I need a walking stick. I don't use it to point at things. Oh yes, I wish I could use it to gesticulate. I can't.
I wear the coronet of Rassilon.
And very fetching it is too.
It emphasizes my will and allows me to control the minds of others.
See, this is something we brought up when we were watching it. When Twice Upon a Time came out, everyone complained about how the First Doctor had been portrayed by David Bradley, with the writing mainly about him being sexist. And like you watch this, and honestly, you go back and watch First Doctor stories. He is sexist.
Yeah.
It's just the way he was written and the time. Like people complained about the line, "You're going the right way for a smacked bottom" in Twice Upon a Time. Is a line that line has been lifted directly from a First Doctor story.
There's a scene in this going back where the First Doctor insists that Tegan goes and makes tea for them because he's like needs refreshment. Janet Fielding, absolutely, she just refused. She's like, nope, Tegan's not doing that. She's not getting a man to like ordering her to go make her tea. And they compromised, and the only reason she went and did it was because they got Turlough to join Tegan in making it. And then I love that they come back with a bowl of fruit.
Yeah, a bowl of artistically cut fruit.
Yeah, in a big glass bowl, and they got the wicker furniture out, and they got the little.
And they got the fancy futuristic glasses where like the these days it's the sort of crap that you buy from cheap shops. The straws are built in and they go all the way around the cup and in at the bottom.
It's the future.
Future.
And then we get the weird shot of Herndl eating.
It lingers on him eating pineapple way too long.
Yeah, weird. For a show that needs all the time it can get for all the characters it's got.
Although I know that there were issues with him licensing out his image, which is why we have those Doctor Who annuals featuring a master that is not quite the master. It's what is referred to on the TARDIS Databank fandom page. And also in my spreadsheet as the generic master, the one from the annuals.
I found an annual, and I opened it up, and I didn't realize at first when I was looking, just flicking through it, didn't realize that it was the master because it just looked like a man.
Yeah.
And then looking closer, it was like, oh, this is the master, and then not quite Ainley, but not quite Delgado, somewhere in between the two.
Yeah, looks a bit like Doctor Strange.
Yeah, actually, yes, it does, especially in this one that I was reading because he was impersonating Merlin.
Yes, which is fun because, and we'll get to that story one of these days because that's fun because, of course, the Doctor is Merlin. According to Battlefield, the Doctor is Merlin at some point in the future.
I can't talk about it now. We'll talk about it another time. Get to it. Can't go into it now.
I love Panto. Panto is great. I think if I'd had my time again, I could have been a great Twanky.
Okay.
What? And at that time, seeing as, Anthony Ainley was so up for it, and sorry, almost had a bit of a bit of a hobble there. I know he was bisexual, but I do not want to be quoted as saying Anthony Ainley was up for it. Yeah, no, the bubble wrap is utterly insane. Who doesn't measure Like, who does? Like, why do they not get the actors' measurements when they're getting the costumes ready?
Because they did with her, but she was pregnant and no one told them.
Yeah, but what I'm saying
Oh,
is,
why didn't they remeasure her?
no, I was going to say, like, surely. So they got the measurements. So what? They got the measurements several months beforehand, and then she got pregnant.
Or they just got her old costume out.
That's a stupid thing to do, assuming that she's going to be the same size as
It
she
was
was.
the 70s. Women were expected to be the same size.
It's the 80s.
Why would she have put 80s? Why would she have put weight on? She shouldn't be doing that.
If you want to make it in this business,
Yeah.
you've got to stay exactly the same size. That's another
Don't
thing.
joke.
Like,
That's correct. Literally, Disney would fire them if they didn't stay the same weight.
well, I mean, this is the thing. Anthony Ainley, he can never change his weight now with that costume because it's been tailor made to him.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, we've learned that the master has a tailor made costume.
Yes. We learned that the Master has the most expensive costume at the BBC. It's probably also the only costume owned by the BBC.
I don't know. They're burning the stuff they do own, and they're not buying anything new. No, you're absolutely right.
I will
Cool.
say.
I can cut that into
Yeah, I will say that I don't think he did a very good job when they did Masterful.
John Sim.
Yeah.
What about Masterful did you think?
I felt like it. Doesn't have to be in at all. I felt like in Masterful, he had probably just been out of the role for too long. And he just doesn't, I feel like he plays it differently to how he did in the past.
I felt
and
like he
it's-
played it definitely closer to how he played it in The End of Time.
Yeah, I think it's not this, the two big TV appearances are not, it's not the same. So
Yeah. I
still liked him. I just sort of listened to it and was like, this is the same almost as when Billy Piper came back and you're like, oh, you don't know or you don't remember or you
exactly what it was like when you were here. Yeah.
here. So now you're doing your approximation of this character, which is still good but different.
You should have watched your previous performances.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with that. Yeah, I enjoyed Masterful. As I say, I think Milo Parker was in it because
Yeah.
they didn't like that role was clearly because they don't really go much into him being a child or anything or
Doesn't
why
play
he's there.
into it,
It doesn't
yeah.
play into it at all. So you get the feeling that script was written with Dreyfuss's master in mind. But Dreyfuss, yeah. Oh well. I think we've done well. I think we've got everything.
If anyone out there happens to have a Missy 5.5-inch action figure that they are willing to sell me or part with, email the podcast at pleaseattendcarefully@gmail.com. Thank you.
Yeah. So that whole bit went nowhere. We'll just cut. Terramon, there we go.
Terramon.